Ni hao! Welcome. So welcome to On the Sauce for Dry January. That was one of the names that we suggested. The other one was Saucy January. Let us know what you prefer. Anyway, welcome to our three favorite simple Chinese sauces. They're easy, they're quick, they're delicious. The beautiful thing about preparing your own sauces is often in processed sauces that you buy in the shop can have added sugars, can have added processors, added stabilizers, and other ingredients that aren't necessarily as beneficial to your health. So, in making your own, you can create this incredible, beautiful, tasty sauce and understand the ingredients. First sauce we're gonna make is a simple Chinese sweet and sour sauce. This is obviously kind of a North American or American construct, but it's very ubiquitous, at least even in Ireland, England. We grew up, it was the only Chinese dish we ever ate. Simple, tasty, easy to make, and cheap. First thing you're gonna need is a blender. If you don't have a blender, use an immersion blender. Into it, we're gonna add 100 grams or 100 ml of boiled water. We have 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder. If you don't have arrowroot powder, just use simple flour. Just try to sieve it, it kind of stops it clumping. You could use tapioca flour. If you're gluten-free, just use rice flour. 2 tablespoons of tamari. If you don't have tamari, just use soy sauce, but it's worthwhile investing in tamari. And as with seasoning, there's always balancing. So you have sweet, sour, bitter, acidic, and umami. So the main carrier of the flavor here is the water. Obviously the tamari is bringing the umami. The sweet, which we're adding in now, is 100 ml of maple syrup. If you don't have maple syrup, you could use agave syrup or brown rice syrup. Then for acid, we're bringing in 3 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. Another basic kind of, mostly color agent and kind of slight thickener is tomato puree, 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. And the 2 base flavors, 2 cloves of peeled garlic and a nice thumb. Notice the TH there, thumb. In Ireland we're not so good at saying THs. Thumb-sized piece of ginger, I peeled it just because that wasn't organic. Put the lid on and blend until smooth. Really ensure that you blend it until it's smooth because the arrowroot has a tendency to clump. Okay, so when you pour out the sauce, you'll see how viscous or runny it is. Normally a sweet and sour sauce kind of has that gloopiness and a little bit of kind of almost glaze to it. That will happen once it's heated. Once the maple syrup starts to heat, it'll start to want to kind of seize in a little bit and you get that wonderful glaze-like texture across your veg. So that's ready, that'll last 3 days in the fridge, freezes really well. Time to make our next sauce. Next sauce we're going to make is hoisin sauce. In Cantonese, hoisin is normally associated with seafood. Obviously this is vegan, no seafood in this dish. But it's a wonderful dipping sauce, wonderful marinade, and just incredible with any stir-fried veg. This is probably my favorite of them all. Okay, again we're going to use a blender. In our blender we have 5 tablespoons of water. So this is the carrier of the sauce. This is bringing the main viscosity. I do like that word, I think it makes me sound intelligent. 3 tablespoons of tahini. You can have light tahini, dark tahini. If you don't have tahini, you can simply use peanut butter. It will just add that peanut note, whereas tahini works great. 1 tablespoon of oil of choice. Try to use a neutral tasting oil because you don't want the acidity of kind of an extra virgin olive oil or sunflower oil dominating. 3 tablespoons of sugar. Use coconut sugar if you want to be a little bit higher in fiber. 2 tablespoons of tamari, that's going to bring the umami note. Just to offset that umami and the sweetness, we have 2 tablespoons of rice wine vinegar. If you don't have rice wine vinegar, just use malt vinegar or something similar. Now, time to make this a little bit more interesting. Miso, so miso is going to add that wonderful fermented umami, just note that's going to contrast wonderfully with the 3 tablespoons of the sweetener. I've half a teaspoon of chili powder. It's going to add a little bit of spice. Obviously, if you don't like it spicy, just use a little bit less. And I've 1 teaspoon of Chinese 5-spice. Worth seeking out the Chinese 5-spice because it does add that extra dimension and subtlety of flavor. This is probably my favorite sauce. It's strong, it's umami, there's a deep complexity. It might yield slightly less, but the flavors are more stronger. Great for marinating tofu, great for marinating jackfruit, even in oyster mushrooms. I'm going to do a lovely stir fry at the end with that, it'll be incredible. This is my next favorite sauce. This is a simple black bean sauce. Typically a black bean sauce is using fermented black beans that kind of have this ginger in them and they have this real strong umami note. We didn't want to use these because these can be a bit hard for people to get, so we're just showing you a simplified version. 1 tin of black beans, we've drained and rinsed them, so that's 400 grams net weight, gross weight, net weight, gross weight, anyway. 240 grams of drained black beans. In they go. In on top, 3 cloves of peeled garlic. If you are garlic sensitive, use less. 1 thumb, TH, 1 thumb sized piece of ginger, pop it in. If your food processor or blender isn't that good, just chop them up. Now for the umami note, we're gonna go in 2.5 tablespoons of miso. So that's adding that wonderful fermented note that we would have got from the traditional black beans. Okay, time to add a little bit of sweetener. We've 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. 1 teaspoon of rice wine vinegar. Again, if you don't have it, use apple cider or use malt vinegar, that'll do fine. Time to add a little bit of saltiness just to kind of balance out this dish. I've 1 teaspoon of veg bouillon. If you don't have veg bouillon, use half a stock cube. In it goes. And I have 1 full can of full fat coconut milk. Obviously, if you want to make it lower fat, use low fat coconut milk. And if you're not using any, use 350 mils of boiling water and 50 grams of soaked cashew nuts and blend them up till smooth. Okay, so just blend it up until it's smooth. As we mentioned there, I didn't want to make it too dark because black dishes can seem a little bit just kind of uninviting, especially when you're trying to eat the rainbow. Again, this does yield a little bit more. We've about 800 mil in here, which is great. Okay, time to bring a dish together. As with a stir fry, one of the most basic and simple things is that your pan is super hot. See the way the oil is slightly starting to smoke? Boom, that's showtime. It shouldn't be smoking too much. I've chopped a load of stir-fried veg. I'm just gonna add it in now that my pan is hot. Get ready for a nice sizzle. Hey! So obviously stir fry, I'm keeping it moving so that it chars a little bit but doesn't burn too much, so that it's crispy, it's crunchy, and there's that nice extra dimension of flavor, that charring. Serve whatever you like, whether it be noodles. I'm going with a simple udon rice noodle. Use whatever type of noodle you like. Or else you could serve with brown rice or white rice, whatever you're into. Okay, I want to go with my favorite, which is hoisin. Comment below which would be your favorite, let us know. And let us know ones that we should have done, because these were just the 3 simple ones that here in Little Ireland that are widely available. So I'm just going to bring the dish together. So here's our simple hoisin stir-fry noodles. And with any dish, it's normally just a few ingredients to make a good dish great. So obviously this is an extremely large portion. I'm very hungry. This will serve 2. I've just simply charred some tofu, miso glazed tofu. Just going to serve it slightly to the side. I have a little bit of crimson sauerkraut. And then a little bit of kimchi, because as Shawnee said, it is the more appropriate side of the world. Et voila, simple hoisin, stir-fried veg and noodles. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. Let me try this actually. Very, very tasty. Hot, really lovely. Wow, the noodles are lovely and soft. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. Let us know which sauce you'd prefer or what ones we should have cooked. Thanks for watching and wishing you a great day. Cheers.